in the Golden Hills north of San Francisco, where some of the finest wine in the world is produced. You'll also find a natural terrain road course. It's called Infineon Raceway. And we are here today for peak pole qualifying, and that's going to determine, of course, the lineup for tomorrow's 14th IndyCar race of 2009, the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma. We are live, and in the first round of knockout qualifying, this is group number 2 on the track. We're watching Mario Moraes, who returns to the series after missing the most recent race at Mid-Ohio because of the death of his father. Knockout qualifying, if you've never seen it before, it is exciting. 2 groups go 20 minutes, and from those 2 groups, we take the top 6 of each. Then 12 cars for 15 minutes, advancing to the Firestone Fast 6, and that determines the top 6 positions for tomorrow's race here at Infineon. Moraes continuing to try to move into the top 6. Right now, he is 8th fastest. The top 6 you can see there in the box at the top of your screen. Ryan Briscoe, the quickest. Tony Kanaan, Danica Patrick, Frank Montani, who is driving 5th car for Andretti Green Racing this weekend. Marco Andretti is also there, and Graham Rahal is on the bubble. And we see some cars that are switching to the alternate tires, the reds. There's Ryan Briscoe, who has the reds on his car.
The red tires we've seen when guys are going to them, they are a ½ second plus quicker when you put those on. Maybe even a second here. We're looking at TK. If he can throw down a lap with those reds on, it may bump him up a second faster than he sits right now. And he's at a minute 17.9. We could see him at a 16.9.
Well, earlier today in the practice session, we had what can only be described as a frightening crash.
You've already seen some of the elevation changes. You saw Mario Moraes out there slipping and sliding. This is Nelson Philippe, who gets on the outside of 3A. 11 minutes later, he gets in trouble. He stopped on the racetrack. ETB still makes avoiding action, but listen to this. Will Power stopped. That, Robbie, is as big as it gets.
It is, and a huge frontal impact. Look at that car right there. Look at the frontal impact there for Will Power.
An update on the drivers from Jack Arute.
Yeah, John Griffin, who is the spokesperson for the Indy Racing League, joins us down here at the Firestone Pit Central. What is the latest on both Philippe and the car 12 of I've lost the name of Will Power.
Will Power. Will has a concussion. He has a compression fracture of the L2 and L4 vertebrae. And he's going to be further evaluated with an MRI later on this afternoon. That's what we know about Will. Nelson Philippe, he also has a concussion. He has an open fracture of his left foot. He's in surgery right now. It's being cleaned out, being repaired. Both drivers have been admitted to Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital. They'll be there overnight. And hopefully we'll have an update or further evaluation with Will later this afternoon.
John, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, I should point out I had an opportunity to look up close at both of those cars, and I will tell you one thing. Some of the new rules that were introduced by the Indy Racing League over the course of the last year to 2 years, they provided such an incredible survivability for both these drivers. I don't even want to speculate what it might have been like 5 years ago.
Incredible impact, no question about that. And although, of course, both drivers did suffer injuries, it appears as if neither one is critically or seriously injured. Will be out of action, obviously, for a while. But the impact that Will had with Philippe was just incredible.
And that's part of the terrain here. We have this beautiful road course, but there are blind corners. And when you come across that 3A where we saw this, it is a blind corner. You come across that rise, and there was Nelson's car sitting there. You know, we love these circuits. We love the challenge of it, but it's just a reminder that, you know, they're dangerous when you got those blind curves.
And it was a timing issue. The corner workers were immediate. The yellow light came on, the yellow flags came out, but Will was already committed. He was in there. He was under that compression. He was full throttle over the top of that hill.
Yeah, and you and I talked about that earlier. Where that flagger stand is to, visually as a driver, Will was committed past where you would see that flagger anyhow. And that's sometimes what happens in the sport.
Ryan Briscoe continues to be the fastest in this group number 2, round number 1. Kanan second, Danica Patrick is in third position. This is the last road course of 2009 that we will race on. We got 3 ovals coming up. Ryan Briscoe started off the year with a victory on the road course at St. Petersburg, Florida. We'll be back with more knockout qualifying live from Sonoma in a moment.
At the Indy 500, drivers put complete trust in their cars. But when you're out on the road trying to make it to work, are you sure you can trust your motor oil?
Put your trust in Peak Performance Motor Oil. Formulated to protect against thermal breakdown, Peak is the motor oil tough enough to be the official oil of the Indianapolis 500.
Whether you cover 500 miles in a few hours or it takes hours to get to work, you can count on Peak. When you peak, you win.
What does greatness taste like?
Miller Lite.
Off the glass, centered in front. Oh, what a great move. Another great move. He skates in on goal. He shoots. He scores! Unbelievable! It's all over. Oh, my!
That's what greatness tastes like. Triple hops brewed, great Pilsner taste. Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Yeah, we know. You missed it because you were busy tweeting.
Trouble for Danica Patrick, hard into the tire barrier.
Or you and your buddies totally almost decided to go to a race one time.
Elio wins it.
Then didn't. Well, this is IndyCar Series Championship Weekend. The ultimate destination with 3 races, celebrities, a concert, beaches, parties, nightlife, fireworks, glitz, glamour, fun, sun. And no more lame excuses. See you in Miami.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Kanaan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
Races left, and they're all on Versus. From the ovals to the streets, day and night, from Florida to Japan, the fastest drivers on the planet are on the final laps to the championship. Live from Sonoma, Sunday at 5.
IndyCar qualifying on Versus is presented by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
We have about, well, a little less than 15 minutes to go, and this, I'll make that 4 minutes to go in this session. Group number 2. Round 1, Briscoe still fastest. Andretti is now jumped up to P2. He was down in the 7th spot, but just jumped up to P number 2. Ryan Hunter-Reay is 3rd, followed by Danica Patrick, Richard Antonucci now number 5, and Tony Kanaan is in the 6th position on the bubble. 6-car Ryan Briscoe re-enters the pit area.
And if you compare Briscoe's time to 16.7 in the Group 1 session, prior to this, Helio was 16.9, so 2/10 quicker for Briscoe at the top of this group.
Jack, how about some strategy for the AGR team?
Well, it's interesting. People always want to know, how do you get in the first session or the second session? Well, there's a blind draw at the first drivers' meeting. If you pull a red pill, you're in one session. If you pull the blue pill. Well, if you've got 5 cars, the way AGR does, Hideki Muto pulled the odd pill and was in first qualifying round. Michael Andretti, the guy there on the right-hand side of your screen, got his team together and said, look, regardless of what happens, we want to gauge the performance of the reds. That's exactly what Hideki Muto did with the Firestone alternate tire. He went a 1.5 seconds quicker. All of a sudden, everybody in that first round that were on the Firestone primaries, they scrambled for the alternate tires. But what Andretti wanted to do was not try to cause everybody to burn up a set of alternates, but to prepare his team for round 2 with Marco Andretti, Tony Kanaan, Danica Patrick, and Frank Montaday. and they have been consistently right there in the top 6, thanks to their teammate. Marco Andretti has now moved into number 2 on this turn.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay finds himself on the bubble here as we have about 2 more minutes to go. He is in 6th position right now and just got knocked out as Mario Moraes moves up to 6th.
Wow, look at the speed that Marco Andretti carries into that approach. That's a blind approach to the carousel. Wow, he was flying over the top of that hill, Robbie.
And do you see the movement in his car as he went down through that carousel at 130 miles an hour?
Frank Montani, here he is in
P5.
8th, but
just got in.
Yep, just got into 5th. Danica Patrick now on the bubble.
That's right about the range, Robbie, we thought, because group number 1, it was a 17.2 to get in. Now that's a 17.3, so very similar times. This should be a tougher group because there were 2 drivers that we saw after that accident that didn't get to run in group 1.
And so what that means is you look at Kanaan in P4 there at a 17.3. The 6th place car of Weldon in Group 1 was a 17.2. I wouldn't be comfortable with that 17.3, and it just shifted again.
TK just jumped to 2nd, and Graham Rahal moved to 3rd in the last minute of this round. Up the hill.
Watch this compression right here. I love this. Turn 3. You get right into turn 3 there. The car loads up, and then here's that blind corner 3A.
That's
Look
where
at
the wreck occurred.
Right there. You come across that blind rise right there, and that's where Philippe and Will had their incident.
Now, Kanaan will know at a 16.8 that he doesn't have to push here. He should be fairly comfortable. He's obviously staying with it, but he'll know by radio, don't take any wild risks here. You should be good to go.
On the drag strip here at Infineon right now, and into turn number 7. Danica's on the bubble here as the session is just about to expire.
And Danica's in the pit, so she cannot fight back. It's all about being on the bubble and who can bump off.
Yeah, so she just sits there with her hands together and prays that nobody's going to do that.
The timing line is over by turn 10.
Right here, there's 9, right where TK is. There's the checker flag. There's the trip line.
So TK will come into the pits. Let's see if anyone is able to move up.
And he did not go faster on that 1 lap. He was hanging it out, but it was not faster than his prior lap. That's got him in P2 in this session.
Matos right now has a 17.5 working, so he'll have to get 2 more tenths of a second somewhere. Moraes is close. 17.7 it shows. Nope, he didn't make it.
Nope.
You know, you talk about 2 tenths. 2 tenths is a lot to find. It's not much when we're talking about here, but in a race car on this type of track, 2 tenths is a bunch to find.
So Moraes comes in, and it would appear as if we have the 6.
Matos is still, I think Matos is still alive, but he doesn't quite have the segments together.
There's Graham Rahal.
He's in at P3, so he'll be...
Yeah, he's solid.
He's cruising now. Right. Got through round 2. Round 1, group 2.
Rahal heading for his pits. And the fastest in this group was Ryan Briscoe with a 1 minute 16.700. Second quick was Kanaan, then Rahal, Andretti, Montani, and Danica Patrick. Not making it, Moraes, Hunter-Reay, Matos, Antonucci, Carpenter, and Milka Duno. All right, let's take a look at some highlights from group number 1 in round 1.
And in the first qualifying session, Hideki Muto, as Jack Arute was saying, was essentially the scapegoat. Put on the alternate tires to find out how big of a spread was there going to be. And as you heard Jack say, for Hideki Muto, it was huge. A second and a half faster. Everyone else said, uh-oh, if we want to get through, we've got to use the red sidewall tires. Now, a person that we would expect to do well, Justin Wilson, but he couldn't defend a bent right rear A-arm that he has no idea how it got bent, didn't go off the racetrack, but they had to change it, and he couldn't get back out on the racetrack. Elio Castro Neves working the wheel, had some exciting moments out on the racetrack, was the fastest in that group. Not quite as fast as Briscoe as we saw now, but boy, Team Penske is on it.
Well, it didn't really matter that Elio was faster than. There you can see him using that universal language, talking to Ron, his engineer. Look at the hands and the movement of this is what it's doing. This is what I need it to do. But, you know, now you got the top 12. Throw out those times between Briscoe and Elio of the fastest two from the groups. It doesn't matter.
They're the fastest from group number 1, advancing to round number 2. Castroneves, Muto, Franchitti, Conway, Dixon, and Dan Weldon. And from group number 2, Briscoe, Kanan, Rahal, Andretti, Montani, and Patrick. Now we have a 15-minute segment coming up. We can show you those that will be starting at the rear of the field, those that didn't make it into either group. Viso will start 13th, Marias 14th, and Robert Dornbos, who tore the underside of his car off in practice this morning, was not able to get into the fastest 12. Ryan Hunter-Ray starts 16th. In Serbia, Matos, Justin Wilson, Richard Antonucci, Ed Carpenter, and Milka Duno. So 15 minutes of qualifying coming up in round number 2 of knockout peak pole qualifying at Sonoma.
TireRack.com, we stock the largest selection of tires anywhere, all at great low prices. But we don't just ship them off to your house after you buy them. We can deliver them to one of over 5,000 of our independent recommended local installers. Because the best tires in the world can't help you if they're not properly installed on your vehicle. A national network of over 5,000 recommended installers. One more way, Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires.
TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Comcast high-speed internet, amazing. High-speed internet plus unlimited nationwide calling, amazing-er.
All right, here we go. Good job.
I mean, you can call anyone in any state and talk as long as you want. Plus, surf, chat, and download videos faster than ever.
Get the biggest value in home phone and internet service only from Comcast. Download videos super fast with Power Boost. Plus, get unlimited calling now for this great price. It's a huge deal for a small price, so call now.
We are Jensen Riley, and we are 8 people fast.
We design buildings.
Not half buildings, whole buildings.
And that means big files.
Files our DSL couldn't download fast enough. So we switched.
We switched
to Comcast Business Class.
Now our internet's fast.
Faster than DSL.
Faster than T1. And with 24-hour support.
Now we're not waiting around for half a building to download.
We save time and we save money.
Like we said, we are 8 people fast.
Call today and turn your small business into a fast business.
A pass for the lead. It's going to be Dixon. Scott Dixon takes the lead at Mid-Ohio through turn number 5. Here he comes, his 20th IndyCar Series career win, and it is Scott Dixon, the winner at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And the number 9 car will go to P1 in the championship standings. So somebody fire it up.
Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California, as we enter round number 2 of knockout qualifying for tomorrow's IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma. You can see it tomorrow afternoon. Elio Castroneves won the pole for this race last year. Year before that, it was Dario Franchitti. Scott Dixon and Ryan Briscoe also have pole positions here at Infineon. And as we enter the next few races of the season, of course, every point is very, very valuable in a very tight battle for the season championship.
And Scott Dixon, what a dominating performance he had at Mid-Ohio. And you got to think that performance carries over a week later. Here we're at another road course. Just that momentum and confidence, you would have to think that gives him the edge right now. He crushed it. He crushed him at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, he did. Down to Robbie Floyd.
And just to add on the points leader, Scott Dixon, he comes into this race with a 3-point advantage over Ryan Briscoe. When he pulled into the pits getting ready, because in that first session, when he got back in the car, I went over to Ricky Davis, asked him, how many changes did you do to the car? He said, well, just a couple of camera adjustments and front wing. Everything's minor right now. I think he's happy with that car. When I talked to Scott earlier today, he said, I don't know what it is about here, but I've always had a hard time. Even though he is a winner at this track, I don't think he's quite as comfortable here as, say, he was at Mid-Ohio.
Well, that's good news for everyone else. Because talk about a psych-out job. People said, where did that kind of speed come from? Because he saved fuel in the first segment, and where you thought he was running the same speed as everyone else, and then the moment that he turned it up, he just left everybody in the dust.
Really did. And, you know, we heard Robbie talk about the subtle changes, not that much. But as close and competitive as on this road course, like this racetrack, where it's just driver finesse and precision, those little changes, that just lets the driver be that more precise with that car to be able to put it on the front row. I mean, it's all subtle, but all those subtle things, that's what makes a difference when you're talking about thousands that you're looking for out here, splitting hairs.
All 12 drivers on reds, and we have 8 speeds turned in so far. Ryan Briscoe is the quickest. Marco Andretti second. As we continue to watch Scott Dixon, who is 6th right now on the bubble. And Elio moves to P1.
You know, we were just talking about the performance of the Firestone Reds and what they did for this group getting to here. And we saw that almost every one of them is a second plus faster going to these red tires. And Jan, you and I were just saying, yes, it's a tire with more grip and it can go faster, but it's also ties to this track. The drivers are looking for grip on this track. So it's a happy marriage with this tire and the tarmac here. And maybe it's the gravel that's out here. It's the sun beating down on it, but it's even a happier combination than what we've seen all year with those Firestone Reds.
And most people at the moment are on the alternates used. In other words, the alternates they used in the last session. So they're getting a little bit of a feel also with Tony Kanaan and getting a read here on how much longevity they have, because they've got sticker set left if they need it.
TK's already moved up to 4th quick.
And the importance of that sticker set of tires, there is a happy place when they're a sticker set of tire when you can go faster than on the used reds. That's why that's an important thing.
Well, there was news off the track as far as the Andretti Green team is concerned this past week, and Lindy Thaxton can run us down that story.
Yeah, I have Michael Andretti right now to talk about that. And Michael, big announcement this week that you will take over the racing side. What kind of differences should we expect to see?
Not big differences, I don't think. You know, I think we're just doing this so I could focus on the racing, and the other two can focus on the events, because splitting them up is the smartest thing for our company. I think it was a bit too much for us, and I think it was losing our focus on both sides. So we just felt that this was probably the best for our teams.
AGR having a lot of success today, and Danica said a pole here would be so gratifying on a road course because she feels she's improved so much on them. What kind of a driver do you think she is now on these natural terrain road courses?
Oh, she's right up there with the best of them for sure. So we can get the car right for her. She can definitely put it on the pole.
And real quick, what's your situation with red tires? What do you have left?
We got the one set here, so we're waiting. When everybody starts going out on their new tires, we're going to go out.
Michael, thank you.
Yep.
Hideki Muto right now is 2nd quick in this session as TK pulls in. And now he goes to third because Graham Rahal has moved up to P2.
Now, we were talking about Danica Patrick. She has not left pit road yet. So that's why Michael was pretty relaxed.
Well, guys, I can tell you why she hasn't left pit road yet. She has slapped on a brand new sticker set of Firestone alternate tires. So they're going to go for a flyer in the later stages of this. There you can see. See how you can tell that they're a sticker set? Not by the white stickers. They pull those off. But you see the line across the front of the tire. Jan, you know, and Robbie, you know, that'll go away real quick around this natural terrain road course.
It's a good reminder, though.
Yeah,
you leave the pits, you're like, oh, hang on a minute.
And usually, when you leave the pits on those Firestone sticker reds, you go out, you do about a lap and a half, you get pressure, temperature up, and then those next 2 laps. So you do about a lap and a half, the next 2.5 laps after that. That is when those tires are in the sweet spot where they really are performing and giving the driver the most grip possible. So that's when you got to lay it down.
I like the way you call it, Robbie. That's the happy place.
Yeah. Well, you got a happy place, don't you?
Both Ryan Briscoe and Will Power have 2 pole positions on road courses this year as Scott Dixon pulls back into pit lane. And we're on board with Dario Franchitti, who's on the Reds, of course. He's currently in 4th. Those not in the top 6 right now: Dixon, Castro Neves, Montany, Conway, and Weldon.
Ooh, that was close to the edge.
Hanging on. And it was a quicker lap. Moved him up to P3, 16.9.
He's coming in, though, as Danica Patrick has moved on to the racetrack. Let's see what she can do in this round 2 of qualifying. We'll check on her when we come back to Infineon Raceway, Sonoma, California, in the Sonoma Valley, north of San Francisco.
Guys, come on. What kind of ideas we have for our fan club members?
Maybe a fan could be Dixon at something.
With Indy Downforce, you get great gear, trips, offers, maybe even meet your favorite driver. Join at IndyCar.com today.
Hit this lap. 3, 2, 1.
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Stay your fuel. Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
What does greatness taste like?
Around a Miller Lite.
Here it comes. Watch this now. My goodness! Now you have seen it all.
That's what greatness tastes like. Triple hops brewed, great Pilsner taste. Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Tomorrow here at Infineon Raceway, the IndyCar Series Grand Prix of Sonoma will come on at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. It's the 14th race of the year and the final one on a road course. 3 ovals will conclude the season. Part of Red, White, Black, and Blue Summer on Versus at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Here is the way they are currently: Briscoe, Rahal, Franchitti, Muto, Andretti, Kanaan. Scott Dixon not in the top 6 at the moment. And Danica Patrick isn't either.
Well, Danica, we know Danica just went out on those sticker reds, so now they should be up to temperature and pressure. So let's see what she starts tripping at the line as posted times. Jan, are you forecasting anything over there in your computer?
The data says that she needs another lap. Data says that she's taking a little more time and building up the pressures, but this isn't necessarily the lead into the super fast one. This is where you get a feel for it. How are the pressures coming up?
So where she is on the track right now, this is turn 7, second slowest corner on the track. She comes through this switchback straightaway, goes through turn 9, and then right after that is the start line. So she wants to come through turn 9 and have a great shot out of there of putting power down. So she crosses the timeline, she's got every bit of momentum going for her.
You actually want to back off a bit here. You want to take this turn 9 a bit slower than you normally would.
Go. Exactly. Slow in, fast out.
There you go.
So this is her lap, and this, Jack, this should be the happy place for the tires right now. This lap should begin the happy place right now.
Marco Andretti on the bubble. TK and Scott Dixon both trying to get in.
Now she's on a decent run, but not the kind of start that she's going to want to get through. You have to kind of wait for the segments to build. But sort of in the mid-17 bracket at the moment, you can see the bubble is 17.2. She's around the 17.5-ish. So you got 2 or 3 tenths you have to make up in these next couple key corners if you want to be in the ballpark.
Danica's best start here at Infineon was in 2007. She started in second spot, around turn 7 again.
Now it's 17.4, so that's one of the tenths you need. There's another timing line coming up here shortly. Oh, she drifted to a 17.5.
Yeah, but it's flat out all through here. Here's the next big break zone. If she can toss it right and left quick through here and make up a couple tenths, great, but that's tough to do.
And guys, with time running out, there's only about 2:45 left to go in this session. You're going to get about 3 laps, and then it's Katie bar the door.
She did not move up.
But Castro Neves is flying. Talk about projected laps. He should go to P1 if he can keep it down. Now he's got Robbie the second slowest corner to get through here.
Right here, down to second gear. Now back to power, 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 and the timeline is up here. We'll see it
right
there.
Oh, he improved, but he lost a little bit in that last segment. You saw the 16.7 change, but not enough to get past his teammate. Look at those 2 team cars, 17.24 or 7.24 and a 7.40. That's consistency.
Dan Weldon, he's 12th in this group.
Weldon was the first of the first group to go out and put reds on and really establish a time to get them through to the top 12.
He also had an incident at just about the same time as the Will Power and Nelson Philippe crash. Didn't hit the tire barrier hard, though.
Yeah, so his practice session this morning was cut short a little bit, just kind of a little tweak on his left rear tire.
Here's Elio down to turn 7.
What do you see, Jan? What's your data telling you right now?
He has slipped slightly, but I don't think he's too worried about it.
Not enough to challenge Briscoe is what you're saying. But he's happy. He's happy where he is.
Well, I shouldn't say that. Oh, hang on. He just, right as I said that, it changed colors. So now if he could manage to keep the momentum this time, he's right in the fighting zone to get Briscoe.
There's the line. He's got it. He's got it.
He won.
You just, like I say, precision. You just fight for every little thing on that racetrack. You just can't describe it.
Can you believe that he's on the outside looking in?
Yeah.
Well, what we heard was it Lindy that said, Dixon really has never felt comfortable around here. Maybe that's what we're seeing. Right after I said he's the guy with the momentum coming out of crushing him at Mid-Ohio.
He's currently 8th quick. He just moved up 1 spot, but still not in the top 6.
But you know what, fellas? We have seen this before as we ride on board with Dario Franchitti from Scott Dixon. The last lap is always his fastest lap. Let's see what Franchitti gets this time.
He moves to P1.
Jack, you had a crystal ball, Jack.
And Jack, I know what Jack's talking about, that we have come to expect that with Scott Dixon, but I didn't like the look of how he came off that turn 11. He didn't seem like he had the kind of approach that you want to start what ultimately would normally be his fast run.
Hideki Muto is in 7th. How's he doing, Jan?
17-0 at the moment, and the bubble is 16-9.
Yeah.
So he's in the ballpark. I can tell you that Scott Dixon has backed off.
Yeah,
Scott Dixon's not going to make it.
And Muto, this is it. The checkered flag is out. So he comes to the line.
Oh,
this is his
to
last
16-9.
So we want to keep an eye on him to get into that top 6. Hideki, you can do it.
He's going to knock out TK.
Well, no, a 9-1. That's the thing. If you get a 9-9-1, you're not going to make it.
We'll see here.
Now it says a 9.62. Remember, he's still got 4 corners to go. So when you project these, anything can go up or down depending on how you take this corner.
Big braking zone down to 2nd gear. Now you're thinking power. Get a shot out of there.
It's going to be close.
Did he?
He did it.
He did it.
Oh, TK knocked out to the top 6.
I think there's something about Hideki's good finish that he had last weekend. It just, his confidence is really good. And I talked to his engineer, Ray. His confidence was really good on behalf of Hideki.
Yep. Wow, that was fun. And now we got the Firestone Fast 6 to go to determine the fastest, top 6 starting positions. Robbie?
Well, when he practiced in 4th place earlier this morning, I went to him and I said, how do you like it? He said, it's good. The car was good, just like it was at Mid-Ohio. He had a strong finish there. I said, is this track, is the car set up the same here as it was at Mid-Ohio? And he said, yeah, to be honest, it's pretty much the same type of car. The other guys I talked to, I asked that same question, and I have not heard anybody else say the same answer. Totally different track, different setup.
Well, TK is not happy, and he did not make the top 6, finishing in 7th position. Here's what happened as he came in. Yep.
So I guess he got the word, didn't he?
Yeah, he just got bumped by your teammate.
Yep. So Kanaan, Montany, Conway, Dixon, Patrick, and Weldon all did not make it. But those are the 6 that did, and we'll go into the final round to determine the Peak Bowl qualifier for this race here at Infineon. Franchitti, Castroneves, Briscoe, Andretti, Rahal, and Muto.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
The fun never stops with the Peak Power Inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great for travel, mobile office, and all-out tailgating. It's easy to hook up. Plug in almost anything. Laptop, cell phone, TV, blender, whatever. Peak inverters turn your car into a party on wheels.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak,
check out the next big thing in education. Whether your son is just learning to subtract or your daughter studying photosynthesis, there's something for every learner with Discovery Education On Demand by Comcast. Turn your television into an extension of the classroom. Simply press the On Demand button on your Comcast remote, choose Get Local, then select Education. Each month, check out the new programs for all grade levels that support your child's learning in science, math, English, and more. Give your child a good reason to watch TV before their homework is done.
If you want to buy a certified luxury vehicle, then you need to shop at a luxury dealer like Tom Wood Porsche Audi. Now through Saturday, Tom Wood Porsche Audi is hosting a certified luxury tent event. We've made a special purchase of luxury pre-owned vehicles starting under $20,000. Shop pre-owned Porsches, Audis, BMWs, Acuras, Mercedes-Benz, and more with payments starting at $299 a month. Get to the certified luxury tent event only at Tom Wood Porsche Audi.
Click TomWood.com.
4 races to go in the 2009 season, and a 3-point separation between first and second. Dixon that much over Ryan Briscoe, with Dario Franchitti still very much in the hunt for the championship. Elio Castroneves 4th in the championship battle, and Danica Patrick is in 5th. So it appears as if the championship will go down to the final race at Homestead Miami Speedway. Scott Dixon did not make the Firestone Fast 6, and he has to be very disappointed at that. He'll be starting back in 10th position. So we're waiting now for the beginning of the Firestone Fast 6, the final round of qualifying here at Infineon. And guys, tell me about your thoughts concerning the first 2 sessions.
Well, I really like what AGR did. I know we saw a frustrated Tony Kanaan being tubbed up by his teammate, but still having 2 cars in the top 6. And Hideki Muto, I love the fact that he's in the top 6.
Amazing that Scott Dixon is not there. With the kind of momentum that we saw in Mid-Ohio, we heard some people say, the car's not too much different from what I ran in Mid-Ohio, but very interesting. He doesn't feel comfortable. One thing I think, Graham Rahal didn't test here. We didn't talk about him much, but Scott Dixon did test here. The Andretti team tested here, but again, it was Frank Montani who did all the running. So a guy like Muto hasn't actually driven here, had someone else test the car for him. So hats off to AGR. Nice day.
Yep.
So it could very well be that we will see that point lead at 2 as we go into tomorrow's race if Ryan Briscoe can take the pole here, because the pole sitter does get 1 point, and we know it's not going to be Scott Dixon. Now let's go to Robbie Floyd down on pit lane.
Well, Scotty, the guys we're talking about, they were amazed that you were not in that, especially coming off of a Mid-Ohio victory. What was it the car and yourself were doing that kept you out of that?
Yeah, I don't know. We seem to be really inconsistent with the braking. And then on that last set, we're just locking fronts. And as soon as you lock it, you instantly, go past the corner and you're out of, offline and out of grip. So it's definitely frustrating.
We talked about that before you even went out to qualifying today. It's not just about going fast in those corners. It's the braking where you thought early, you saw the empirical data, you were losing to your teammate Frank Keating.
Yeah, it's definitely seems to be the biggest difference. I think 9 and 11. And normally, our car is pretty decent under brakes. So we see some inconsistency with the balances and we're not really sure what's going on. So hopefully we can fix it for tomorrow.
Comfortability. I told the guys how you said you don't always feel so comfortable here even though you have had a victory. What is it about this place that keeps you uneasy?
Yeah, it's tough. I like a car that's really loose. And, when you've got a lot of elevation changes, especially over crests and coming into, off-camber corners makes that difficult. So, I end up having to drive a car with a bit of understeer, which Dario loves, and I can't. So, between that and the combination with the brakes today, we're really struggling.
Good luck tomorrow. Bob Jiggins?
Dario Franchitti will be in the Firestone Fast 6, and he has an incredible record when you look at the Firestone Fast. 16 appearances in 18 races, 13 consecutive appearances, and he has appeared in every Fast 6 in 2007 and 2009. And his last Fast 6 missed was at Watkins Glen in 2006.
And Bob, when you take a look at Dario Franchitti as he awaits the Firestone Fast 6, I've been watching him during these first 2 rounds. He and his team have done what I think, fellas, is a real smart move. They have marshaled their Firestone red tires, and what I mean by that, they haven't abused the 2 sets that they've used so far. So there's still a lot of life. There's still a little bit of a happy place for both those sets. One thing, and we saw it in that last session, Dario Franchitti saves the best for last. That may be what he uses to gain some points in his chase of first and second in the IRL point standings. Bob?
One of the most exciting 10 minutes in all of auto racing. Knockout qualifying round number 4 coming up here at Sonoma.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture, jewelry, technology, biofuels.
I'm Tony Kanaan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
What does greatness taste like?
Miller Lite.
He throws it across the field.
He's got something.
30,
He's got
40,
something.
50,
He's got it.
40,
He's got it.
20, 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle.
That's what greatness tastes like. Triple hops brewed, great Pilsner taste. Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
There are moments in life when there are no limits, no boundaries, no walls. That the rules of gravity just don't apply. Because there is no statute of limitations on greatness. Here are the drivers involved in the Firestone Fast 6. Hideki Muto,
Graham Rahal will be in the 6. So will Marco Andretti, who won here a couple of years ago. Ryan Briscoe. Elio Castroneves. And Dario Franchitti. How will they line up for tomorrow's race? Well, we'll know in just about 10 minutes from now. Meanwhile, starting in 7th position tomorrow will be Tony Kanaan. Frank Montani will start 8th. Mike Conway 9th. Scott Dixon 10th. Danica Patrick 11th. And Dan Weldon will start in the 12th position. And then 13 through 22 are drivers that we showed you a little bit earlier. Lindy is standing by with Danica Patrick.
And Danica Patrick, you will be starting 11th. Did you notice anything out there that you'd like to change for tomorrow during your run?
Yeah, you know, we made a little bit of changes there for that last run, and it just didn't improve the car, unfortunately. So I think I led my guys astray with a couple things. So, but it's good that we've got a couple of cars in the top 6, and you know we have an idea of the things that we'd like to fix for tomorrow, and it's also a little bit different because it's, you know, you want a car that you can drive hard every lap, and sometimes that's not exactly a qualifying car.
You said doing well would be so gratifying here for you. You freely admitted before road courses didn't used to be your strength. How do you see that you've improved on natural terrain road courses?
Well, you know, I'm just getting more comfortable. You know, from a driver's perspective, you get to the point where, or at least I've got to the point anywhere, where it feels like I am on top of the car. I'm the one in control, and I make it do what I want it to do, and you know, can take it to the limit quicker and easier. And I think that's been the difference for me on the road courses.
Danica, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Danica Patrick, as we indicated, will start in 11th position tomorrow. We jump on board with Elio Castroneves. Now, the clock has not started yet. It will not until the first car passes the timing line.
And, Robbie, that's a pretty good point that Danica makes. There are times when you feel like you're on top of the car and it's doing what... It's at least responding to what you're telling it. It doesn't always do what you want, but there are times that you feel you're ahead of it, and there's other times you feel you're always chasing the car. That's a big transition.
It is, and we just talked about it. AGR, you know, they're pretty confident about their cars. Even though Danica wasn't that time, she said, well, we got 2 of our guys up there with Marco and Hideki. We feel confident. And she also just said, you know, my race car, I want something I can drive hard every lap. So she does know what she wants. She is learning and says, hey, that's what I got to have.
I'm not driving hard every lap. You see, Castroneves missed the apex there by like 20 feet. But you know why? He's got tires on that he needs to baby. You can't just go out there and just light them on fire. So if you go in a little bit too hot, you're going to stay wide and look after him.
And these are red Firestone tires that already have laps on them, so they don't quite have as much grip in them. And you got to manage those tires, and that's just kind of what you're saying. He's got to focus and keep on that plan.
4 previous races here at Infineon Raceway and 4 different winners. Last year, it was Elio Castroneves. At this race, he started his march toward the championship. Elio not finding much of a fence to climb here at Infineon, but the crowd found him. Dixon, of course, went on to win the championship, but it came down, of course, to the final lap of the final race at Homestead Miami Speedway. Elio is in his 18th Firestone Fast 6 appearance. Dario in his 16th. Ryan Briscoe in his 12th.
Now he's on the apex. That's a lot better.
That's better. So he'll just make this lap count. I think Elio will be a tough guy to bet against for where he positions himself here in the top 6 and tomorrow for the race. I think he'd be a guy that I'd have to lean towards wagering on. I'm not calling out anything.
You don't think he's going to be the pole then, huh? I actually think your man Briscoe. You've been calling Briscoe all year. I'm thinking Briscoe seems to have a handle on this today.
I think where Briscoe really shines is right now. Nobody has sticker red tires. Everybody's on used tires. And I think Briscoe has such a great feel with the brake pedal and how he balances that car and floats entry speed. Look at this. This is just floating speed back car. I think he's brilliant there, and I think he'll shine here today.
More on Ryan Briscoe from Robbie Floyd.
Robbie Buell, I think you're exactly right. He has history at this track. Back in 2005, it was his first ever IndyCar Series pole award, so there's a little history there. And when you look at 2008, we've only had 2 road courses, right? Watkins Glen, Mid-Ohio. What's the one driver that's taken the Peak Pole Award at both of those courses? Ryan Briscoe. I go to his team, I say, hey, the Reds, how hard was he on them? He said he was very, very easy. He was out there on Reds, but he really wasn't hurting the Reds. So I think he's holding back. That's your guy to beat. Robbie, I'm sticking with you.
Okay.
Yeah, but you started saying it was Castro Neves.
No,
so.
I just said he's going to be good.
So Robbie Floyd, you're with me. Okay, you and I are together. He's over with Castro Neves. How about you, Bob?
I'm going with
Hideki.
Boy, I'd like to go with Hideki, you know it? I will. I'll go with Hideki.
Good for you. EJ Viso's not in, so you got to go.
Right, exactly. Ryan Briscoe, as I indicated a little bit earlier, wants, of course, to win the pole because he can cut the margin to 2. That Scott has the lead over him in the championship battle.
Isn't it amazing? You're out there doing everything you can to get a pole position, and you got to slow to 40 miles an hour and swing wide in that turn 7. It just looks like you're coming to a stop.
Yeah, it just keeps tightening up, tightening up, tightening up.
But boy, this is a great one for Briscoe. Should be a 16-7. It's a flyer for Briscoe.
Graham Rahal isn't out. Why, Jack?
Bob, a couple of drivers have elected to do one thing. Graham Rahal has just strapped on his used scuffed Firestone Reds. He's going to go out. In the meantime, what he was trying to do is cool down his brakes. Noticed a couple of teams doing that during this 5-minute session. That doesn't give him much of an opportunity for the pole, but it may help him in getting that perfect lap to move further up the grid.
And you talk about that perfect lap. That's what these guys are trying to do. It's not a combination anything here. It's one perfect lap. But the brakes, remember what we heard from Dixon, what his struggle is. If a driver doesn't have a brake pedal he can count on, and that brake pedal is kind of sometimes getting soft, and it is not a constant variable for you to judge how you attack a corner, it throws off your whole rhythm. If I know my brake pedal's soft, that means I can't go to the last possible braking mode, and I got to be conservative. And then you're always second-guessing that brake pedal. And as a driver, you can't challenge the racetrack when you don't know what you have with your brake pedal.
And Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon cannot use the same braking setup because Dario Franchitti is a right foot braker, Scott Dixon is a left foot braker, so they cannot share data because the car balance, the support as they call it, is a bit different between those two techniques.
More than halfway through this session.
And I think, you know, Dario's probably the only guy right now, I think, that's still right foot brakes.
And yet he's the guy that you look for on street and road courses to be fast. And they tell you, Robbie, oh, no, you got to left foot brake. It's the only way to go. And here's a guy who can continually just shows everybody you can use whatever foot you want and you're just as fast.
And so it makes no difference. So don't suck me down that storyline of saying you got to be a left foot braker to be fast. Because
I tried to learn that at left foot brake, and I could never. I took rental cars. I kept like putting my head into the dash all the time. I just could never get the hang of the left foot. Forget it. Just stay with the right.
And your feet are so stupid. They're so far away from your brain. So to learn how to manage them down there in a race car, you know, I've always struggled with that.
Your feet are real stupid. That's the quote of the day so far.
Uh-oh.
Dario, of course.
Okay, well, that's pushing it in qualifying on the Firestone Reds. Just slid, pushed right off the track there.
Yep.
Maybe he tried to left foot brake.
I doubt it.
There's Graham Rahal. He's the only one that hasn't really recorded a lap here in this final round.
So, Bob, before we move on, I want to just finish that you said. So here's Dario coming up the hill, turn 1, just runs out of track there, gets out. That's a pretty gentle off. He knew he was going off, so he just drove it off and said, I'll bring it back on. So the reason your feet are stupid is because they're so far away from your brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, in my case,
that's an excuse. I don't know. You just throw it in there however you want.
Your feet must be pretty smart then, Robbie.
Yeah, I'm 6'3", so I'm really stupid.
Yeah, I wasn't even going that direction yet, but now I love it.
Yeah, right.
So I think I got the smartest feet in this room.
Briscoe continues to be in P1. Dario right now is 5th fastest.
You know, we have fun with saying that in jest, but you can do so much with driving a race car with your feet because how you use that brake pedal, how aggressively you get on and off that brake pedal, that controls the pitch of the car. And you really can do a lot with how it manages the weight in the car and get it to do things for you. So it really is an important tool. And that's where I think Briscoe's one of these special talented guys because he's got that feel in his foot. And it's, you know, something that we all know about our street cars is ABS is a great thing. Well, he's a manual ABS.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's just got a great feel that gets him that more performance.
On board with Elio
now
once
he's
again.
on a fast lap here. He's very close to his teammate. Here comes the timeline.
Did he do it? No.
Oh, but look at that, 8.49 versus an 8.70, and he was on an 8.19 projected. So that had to be that last little turn 9 that he lost just a fraction.
Well, you got to think here, this is definitely Penske domination. Both Briscoe and Castro Neves are 4/10 clear of Franchitti, who's as good as anybody on a road course. Showing they've got a great package underneath them.
Ryan Briscoe has 3 poles this year at Milwaukee, Watkins Glen, and Mid-Ohio.
And you have to feel for Will Power.
Yeah.
Will Power obviously would have been the benefactor of this setup, and we know how fast he is on these kind of courses, and just a cruel fate of timing. In case you missed it, right here, going over the top of 3A, he came over, did not have any indication Nelson Fleet was stopped on the track, hit him broadside, and it just a horrendous accident. Thankfully, none of the injuries are life-threatening, but both Nelson Fleet and Will Power injured, not taking part this weekend.
Will Power, compression fracture of the 2nd and 4th vertebrae and a concussion. Nelson Philippe, an open fracture of his left foot and a concussion. All right, let's watch Ryan Briscoe. Can he win another pole and take another point to the battle for the championship?
20 seconds left. So Briscoe, in theory, right here, he's coming through turn 9. We got about 15 seconds left. There's the trip line.
Yep.
He can put in one more lap. He's got an opportunity for one more lap.
And he improved a little.
Oh, no!
And he missed.
You see that? He locked it up, and he said, oh, I locked it. I messed up. I'm coming in the pits.
Back on board with Dario.
Look at Dario. Dario's got to the top.
Yeah.
While we were watching him go down, Briscoe has just been bumped from the pole.
I like that right foot braking.
And he's not going to get a chance to retake it either.
So it's down to Castro Neves now.
What do you have anything?
No, his splits don't show. His splits don't look like they're in.
Here we are. This is approaching turn 9. Hard on the brakes. 2nd gear. Flick it right. Flick it left. Go to the power.
Now he'll need a miracle. The beginning of that lap wasn't good enough.
Didn't get it.
Nope.
Dario Franchitti will be the pole sitter for tomorrow's race.
Wow, just as we were saying. Look at the Penske cars. They've got 4/10 on the whole field.
Hold on. Time out. What did I tell you guys?
Graham Rahal will be the last one to cross the line. And will he get it? Jan, is he?
Nope.
Close? Nope.
Negative, but he's in the top 6. That's what counts.
But pretty impressive for Graham Rahal because, as you said, they did not come here and test. A great point to make.
Wow. So Ryan Briscoe ended up in 2nd position. Didn't get his final lap because of this.
Yeah.
And then he said, forget it. I'm not going to have a good lap. I'm just going to come down pit road.
So Dario Franchitti will win his 4th pole this year, and it's his 10th career pole in the IndyCar Series. The Peak Performance Pole Award will be handed out momentarily.
I'm running low on energy. Hit this lap. 3, 2,
Get your heart ready. A new energy is going to jolt you. The unique energy of Brazilian products and services.
Watch me.
Go to experienceourenergy.com and discover Brazilian products.
event that can define a racer's career.
Charlie Muldowney wins the U.S. Nationals.
It's the granddaddy of them all.
Winning the U.S. Nationals 20-car title on the St. Bruno.
The Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. Catch all the action Labor Day weekend with the Ringers Gloves Pro Bike Battle on Saturday. And final eliminations on Monday at O'Reilly Raceway Park in Indianapolis. NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing. Speed thrills.
Want to know about local online sweepstakes, promotions, games, and more? Visit recroom.com for your chance to win big from local businesses. Plus, get the scoop on local happenings. Recroom.com. More than fun and games.
Follow the intense racing at the Red Bull Indianapolis GP. We're giving you the chance to win the ultimate Red Bull Indianapolis GP Experience sweepstakes. 3 lucky winners will each receive 2 passes to practice day, qualification day, and a pair of tickets to the Red Bull Indianapolis GP race. Log on now to recroom.com for your chance to win.
IndyCar qualifying on Versus is presented by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
Well, for Dario Franchitti, the Peak Pole Award here at Infineon goes to you. First, an off-road excursion. Then it's the last 2 segments of the final lap. I said before it started that you were going to save the best for last.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you it was planned that way. The target car was really good. The biggest problem I had that last run was I couldn't get the car to downshift as I needed. We're braking so late. These Firestone Reds have so much grip. We're braking so late that the gearbox cannot get through the gears quick enough for us. So, and also with the car's right on the edge of locking the rears, so it won't downshift, so you're getting dog to dog. So it's pretty difficult sometimes. I was trying to get 3rd gear there, ended up getting 5th, which wasn't so helpful. But target car's great, and it's a real achievement by these guys. You know, we've made every Fast 6 this year, and to end the road course segment of the year with a pole, man, it's pretty cool.
What does this portend for tomorrow, though, in not only for the race for the checkered flag, but also for the race for the championship?
No, it's definitely good to be starting up front. I think Ryan's next to me there. Scotty's a wee bit further back, but as we know, it doesn't really matter where Scott starts. He'll be there. But it definitely helps to be starting up front tomorrow. And I feel we've got a good race car. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, Dario Franchitti will bring the field down tomorrow. Let's check in with Robbie Floyd.
And taking that pole from him in the last 30 seconds, Ryan Briscoe, what kept you from taking pole today?
I just locked up the brakes up into turn 7 a bit. I was on a great lap, actually. I was under my best lap from previously in qualifying, and it was going to be, maybe a high 6 or a low 7, and I just locked up the rears going into the hairpin up the top of the track and threw it away. So I'm pretty frustrated right now, but damn that Scott up there, the other Scott, he took that pole away from me.
Exactly. Well, it's qualifying today. The race is still tomorrow. Thanks.
All right, well, let's take a look at the starting lineup for tomorrow's race. And while you do that, I'll tell you that, of course, Dario becomes the first repeat pole winner here. He won the pole in 07 and wins it again here. Elio Castroneves won the race from the pole position last year. Frank Montani, in his first appearance in the IndyCar Series, will start in 8th position, and Scott Dixon back in 10th. We will watch him move through the field quickly, I'm sure, when the green flag drops tomorrow. And the rest of the starting lineup, Servia, Matos, Justin Wilson will also be somebody to watch tomorrow. Antonucci, Carpenter, and Milka Duno. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Coming up next, Whacked Out Sports. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma at 5 o'clock Eastern. For more information on IndyCar, go to versus.com. Congratulations to our pole winner, Dario Franchitti. For Jan Beekes, Robbie Buell, Jack Arute, Robbie Floyd, and Lindy Thaxton, I'm Bob Jenkins. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern for the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma.
Accidents.